where we find ways to level up in our career, level up on our finances, and level up in life in general. How are you this evening? So glad that you could join me. If you are watching via YouTube, please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Thank you very much. Today, we are going to be talking about feeling fraudulent. Feeling fraudulent, aka how to overcome imposter syndrome. Okay, this is something that a lot of us happen to deal with. If you are accomplishing your goals, if you're moving forward, if you're leveling up, then chances are at some point in time you have experienced imposter syndrome. So, what is that? What is imposter syndrome? Imposter syndrome is when you feel inadequate despite having much success. Okay, a lot of people experience feeling like an imposter after accomplishing a goal or entering a new season in their life, like getting a promotion, starting a new business, meeting a sales goal, etc. If you want to overcome imposter syndrome and get back to appreciating the joy and satisfaction of accomplishment, then you need only follow these few steps. Okay, but you have to commit to them in order for them to work. You can't just try them a couple of times and be like, nah, forget it. So, how can you overcome imposter syndrome? Well, you first should consider how you feel versus what is actually true. Consider how you feel versus what is actually true. Oftentimes, we experience emotions connected to something that is not exactly factual. For example, you might feel lazy for not getting as much done around the house as you wanted to today, when the truth of the matter is you were probably running around all last week, completing your to-do list, running errands, and so tonight would be your time to rest. Okay, so we all experience negative feelings and emotions, but sometimes they're tied to something that is not exactly true. A lot of times we often lie to ourselves without even realizing it. And like in the case before, you were feeling lazy and you were telling yourself that you were lazy when in fact it was time for you to rest and you had been productive all week long. So catch your feelings when you get them, confront them with the truth, and then let them go. And this is a process that you have to continue to repeat over and over again to become good at it. Because a lot of the time, once we feel something, we devote ourselves to that feeling. We give over to that feeling. So now we're feeling negative, we're feeling sad, we're feeling unworthy, whatever you may be feeling. And that's based on what? Like, not real factual evidence. Usually it's things that we say to ourselves that are not true. So that brings us to the next point. The create a truth mantra to repeat to yourself. And a mantra is just something that you repeat to yourself over and over again in order to change your mindset. Okay? So create a truth mantra and repeat it to yourself. Write down a few things that you know to be true about how qualified and accomplished you are. Okay. So if you're trying to overcome imposter syndrome, you're going to want to combat the feelings of being an imposter with how deserving you are to be where you are today in life. How much work you put into your life in order to accomplish what you've accomplished thus far. Okay? You want to combat it with the truth. You are worthy. You are deserving. You deserve to be here and experience what you're experiencing. You have the experience, you have the know-how, you have the knowledge. So you want to write things down that kind of go with that. That kind of go with the idea that you're experienced and you know what you're doing. And you want to repeat those things throughout the day, continually. That is how you change your mindset. That is how you shape your mind. It's not like an overnight thing. You really have to chip away at some of this stuff very slowly, and positive affirmations and positive mantras will help you do that. You just have to be consistent and you have to commit to it. Another way to overcome imposter syndrome is just to tell someone about it. A lot of times we go through things alone. We could be sitting right next to someone who loves and cares for us and not say a word to them about what we're going through. And that's what your friends are there for. That's what your loved ones are there for. And talking things out often makes you feel better just going through the motions of talking it out. But when you're with someone who cares for you and they respond to you and they validate you and they understand what you're going through, that's just icing on the cake. That makes things 10,000 times better, but we don't think about that. We think that we have to, a lot of us have an unconscious belief that we have to go through things alone, that we have to power through life alone, that we have to experience these negative things by ourselves. And that is never the case. Your loved ones are there to share your burden with you, to push you forward, to hug you, understand you, meet you with open arms, and let you know that your feelings, in this case, of feeling inadequate, are totally unfounded. And they're just coming from a negative place within you. They're not true at all. So tell someone about it. Listen to what they have to say. Talk to a friend or loved one and listen to what they have to say. Often hearing about your competence from someone else's perspective helps you believe in your abilities even more. Okay? Plus, being able to talk things through might help you see the bigger picture and realize why you are plagued with feelings of inadequacy when the real reasons, and what the real reasons are behind all of that. So talk it out. You never have to go through things alone. Tell someone. Tell someone you love, tell someone you trust. If you don't have anyone that you love and trust in your life, then I do suggest finding a therapist that you can trust. At least trust. You might love your therapist. That's great. But find a therapist that you can at least trust and that you feel comfortable talking to. Okay? Like I say all the time, the relationship you have with yourself is going to be the longest, most important relationship of your life. And so you need to take care of yourself. You need to take care of yourself emotionally. That's important. A lot of times we try to take care of our bodies, but we don't take care of our emotions and our mind and our thinking. Okay? So if you have no one to talk to, find a professional to talk to. Get it out. It's very good for you. There's no stigma involved in that. You don't have to suffer alone. Check how you respond when you fail. That is another way to overcome imposter syndrome. Check how you respond when you fail. One of the only things guaranteed in this life is that we are all going to make mistakes and have failures. When this happens to you, don't let it serve as evidence that your feelings of undeservedness are true. Okay? So a lot of us, especially those prone to beating up on themselves, it's kind of a self-defeating type of cycle that you get into where you believe you're inadequate and then you make a mistake, and to you that only proves your point that you are inadequate. And that is not the way to respond to your mistakes. We all make mistakes. It does not mean that we're inadequate or that we're not deserving of what we have. It doesn't mean that we're unqualified or inexperienced. It's just a part of life. Everyone makes mistakes at some point or another. Even truly successful people. Now, this is logical. You should know this, but a lot of us don't really consider it. Even truly successful people make mistakes all of the time. I'm sure Elon Musk makes mistakes. I'm sure Jeff Bezos makes mistakes. Okay, he's divorced right now, so I think he's made a few mistakes. But yeah, we all make mistakes. Do not beat yourself up over it or use it as evidence to prove that yes, you are inadequate, because you're not. You deserve to be where you are just as much as anyone else does. Okay? So, when mistakes happen to you, you want to view them as learning opportunities and use them as fuel to forge ahead on your path to success. Okay? That's all they are, learning opportunities. Don't beat yourself up over mistakes. I made a mistake today, and I am dealing with that internally. It wasn't a huge mistake, but I just don't like making mistakes, and so it has affected me. So I am practicing catch release with my feelings as well. What I told you, I'm trying to do myself, which is when those feelings of inadequacy pop up, combat them with the truth and let them go. Okay? So those were some ways to overcome imposter syndrome. It is extremely common to experience imposter syndrome. And so I felt like this video was very, very needed. But yes, and if you have any more topics that you would like for me to cover, you can always reach me on social media. I'm Karen Mack, KaronMack on Facebook. You can reach me on KaronMack.com. That's KaronMack.com. Karen underscore Mac on Instagram. I would love to hear from you if you have any show suggestions or topic suggestions you want me to cover. Yes, and I will see you all again next week, same time, same place, different topic. We'll see what's going to happen. I'll talk to you all later. Goodbye.